hello, and welcome to the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. Today, we're going to be talking about messaging and more specifically, monetizing your message. You know, messaging is one of those things that so many of us struggle to define, and yet it's the one thing that attracts our people to us and ultimately gets them to say, hey, they have something that I need and I am willing to pay for. So messaging is just critical, and yet so often we kind of slide it to the we'll do later pile instead of I need to do it today pile. Y'all, we need to do it today, okay? So we're going to talk about that with our special guest, how to really nail down your messaging, and more specifically, how you make money with it. So if y'all are interested in making money from your message, then you are in the right place. And if you know somebody that would benefit from today's topic, please pass this around, sprinkle it out into the world, hit that S button, tag somebody, whatever. We love to love around here, and we love to share good knowledge. For those of you who have never been on one of my live shows before, let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Garst. I'm an online monetization strategist, which is just a fancy word, if you will, for saying I love to help business owners make more money in their business, primarily with social media. But I'm been around for a long time. I've owned my business for 30 plus years now. That's so hard to say out loud. It sounds so bad, or maybe it sounds so good. I don't know. Anyway, but as you guys are coming, give me a shout out. World, are you? We have Jenny. Hey, good to see you. Alice is in the house. So glad to see you, Alice. And let's see. All right. So on all my live shows, we do giveaways. And today is no different. We're going to be giving away an Amazon gift card, a $50 Amazon gift card today. We're also giving away two of my PDF to Profit live courses. Now, this is a course that's designed for people who want a digital product, but they don't know exactly how to go about putting it all together. So this is, like I say, this is a live course. You kind of come to school, but we've had amazing results with this course. If you've ever wanted another income stream, wanted your own digital product, then definitely follow the instructions on how to win. We're opening up the Wednesday, I think it is, to the public. So you have a chance to win. The class dates, we'll put those in the comments as well. So you win. We have what we call aha moments. So if you have an aha moment, you're like, I didn't know that, or you knew it, but you needed to hear it again. That happens to us, right? Like we hear things that we know, but we just needed to hear it again. So drop in those aha, hashtag aha. We'll put you in the wheel of wow. That's just the winner's wheel. We'll draw for the winners end of today's show. Okay, so tell you guys about my sweet friend, Leslie Samuel. Leslie, I met Leslie, like a lot of people in my space, at Social Media World many years ago. I actually met him at FinCon first time we met. But he is a small business coach for high-performing, host of Monetize Your Message, a virtual experience focused on guiding entrepreneurs through the process of creating their online business blueprint. Changing the world one post at a time is a mission towards. You guys put your hands together for Leslie. Hey, Leslie. We're going to get everybody. Hang on. I got to get everybody in here. I always have to figure out what buttons to push when I come back to a new tool again. One thing I want to give a shout out. I forgot to do this, and I don't want, since we're talking about tools, I definitely do not want to omit giving a huge shout out to our special sponsor, Restream. If you guys want an easy lemon squeezy tool to create professional live streams, then Restream is definitely it. Personally, I use Restream to go live right now, like you see on multiple social media channels at the same time, right from within my browser. Right now, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can interview guests, brand your broadcast, bring up your viewers' comments, and so much more. You can even pull in custom graphics and videos. So it's the perfect platform for anybody, whether you're new or experienced, to go live seamlessly. If you want to use your own branding, custom graphics, go live in multiple places, well, you are going to need a paid plan. But I have great news for you. Restream has offered my peeps a huge discount, 25% off for life, y'all. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage, get started with a great tool. You can definitely check them out. There's a link in the comment area. Just click on that and get that 25% off. So, yay. So Alice is saying, Restream, haven't heard of that one. Yeah, it's a great tool. Definitely check it out. But like I said before, I want to give a huge shout out. I got a little sideline there with the Restream telling y'all about it, but say hey to Leslie. Leslie, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here. I see the audience. They're in it. They're welcoming me. Thank you all so much. This is I'm excited for this. I'm glad that we're connecting again and we get to share value with your audience. So that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, I was just thinking, when I said social media marketing world, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure we met. Did we meet at FinCon first, or
I
was it
think it
social media
was.
marketing
I
world?
think it was. They all kind of blur together, but I
Yes,
think it was FinCon, and then of course multiple times at Social Media Marketing World. But whenever we get together, it's like we never separated, so it's always a good time.
it is. So quick story, y'all. I always like to tell quick stories, but
Yep.
Leslie moved to Tampa. For those of you, some of
Hmm.
you know I'm from Tampa. We were just saying, why in the world do we have to go to San Diego to see one another when we live in the same city? Like, is
It's
that not
it's
like
terrible.
crazy? It's
It
it's
is
crazy.
terrible. Like
It's
how
terrible.
how how does life get that hectic or whatever it is that you're like right next door, and I only see you when we go all the way across the country.
It
Hey,
is. That is something we have to rectify. We have to
we
fix
will we will
that.
fix this. We will
That
fix
is
this.
crazy. So I want to kind of give a little background. I kind of know a little bit about your backstory, but I want to
Yeah.
let everybody else kind of get a feel for how you started in the online space. So could you share just a little bit of your journey and then how you've pivoted recently, I think,
Yeah.
to give us a little part of that journey, if you would.
All right, so this is the backstory. So I started in 2008 online, and I was teaching at a high school, science and math. I stumbled onto online marketing, and at the time, it was more. There were these websites where you could complete offers and then refer your friends, and then you get like a free iPod or a free TV and those kinds of things. And these were called freebie websites. So I started on these freebie websites, and I was using forums in order to attract an audience. So I was all in I was in the forums all day, and it got exhausting. Eventually, I heard about blogging and how you could build your blog and create content and put it out there, and then people would start finding you. So I started a freebie website, and so that people could find me, and that went very well. Eventually I realized that I was more interested in the blogging than the freebies. So I kind of shifted to teaching people how they can grow their platform using blogging and creating content. Eventually, a lot of people were saying, well, you're making money blogging because you're teaching people about making money blogging. So I decided, hey, let me experiment with this in a completely different direction. Uh, at the time, I had wanted to be a university professor, but didn't have a PhD. I wanted to teach like biology and neuroscience and those kinds of physiology and those kinds of topics. So I just started a biology website and a biology YouTube channel, and I started creating content. It's called Interactive Biology. And I would create this content, put it on YouTube, put it on the blog, and then use the principles that I was learning to get things out there. And then it just started taking off. I remember the first month I had like 400 people, then the next month 800, and then 1200. Next thing you know, I have like 10,000. Next thing you know, I have like 100,000 people visiting the platform, visiting my site on a monthly basis. So it just kind of took off from there. And I was able to see how how impactful it can be when you create content. Don't just hold it in, but create that content, put it out there, share it with the world. I mean, people all across the globe was using the content. It opened up all kinds of doors. I was able to build a business out of it. It actually landed me a job as a university professor in a doctoral program without a PhD, but because of the content that I was creating. And it's giving me opportunities to be on TV and do all kinds of amazing things, primarily because I had this knowledge, and I didn't just hold on to the knowledge, and I knew I had something that could benefit others, so I shared that thing that I had, that the resources and the information and the knowledge that I had acquired. And by doing that, I was able to build an audience, and by doing that, I was able to build a business. Eventually sold that business, continued focusing on just teaching people how do you get your message out there, how do you do it in a way where you can make money, and started doing coaching, and now my own event and so on. It's been an interesting journey. Recently I just bought back the site, the biology site, because that passion for biology, it's still there, so I'm working on that as well. It's been a fascinating journey, but the key thing about the journey is you and I as individuals, we can stay in our, this is my home office right now, create content, put it out there, inspire others, even change the world, and we can do it while building a successful business. So that's a little bit of my story, and hopefully it's something that can inspire others to just not hold on to the value that they have and just share it with the world.
Yes. And we all have stuff that someone else needs to know. I don't care
Absolutely.
who you are. I don't care what your background is. Leslie just talked about like taking something he was just passionate about
Mm-hmm.
and sharing that knowledge. And because he took that leap of faith, look where he's at today. I mean, so my message to all of you guys is do the same. I mean, he's right. We can do all of this. I think we sometimes get wrapped up in all the details and we let the details stop us from, getting on the road. I say this all the time. You just got to get on the road, and then the
Exactly.
road forks and you take another direction. You keep going, what you do today does not have to be where you are going to be in 5 years from now. So I'm curious about buying it back. So you bought the biology site back. Were they not doing amazing, like, how sometimes people buy something that someone else has created and then it flops? So did
Yes.
that happen?
So the person that bought it with the best of intentions, but life took over.
Yes.
So they weren't able to really do anything with it. This was 4 years ago. And in the 4 years since, there's been no content added to the site or anything of that sort. And I don't blame them, because I know what they were going through. The key thing though is when I sold it, it had 130,000 subscribers, 132 or something thousand subscribers 4 years ago, and now it has 193,000, and that's just based on the content that I had created way back when. That content has continued to cause it to grow over time with literally nothing added. And my passion for biology has been kind of reinvigorated, partly because my son now loves biology, and I'm always finding creative ways to teach him biology and so on, because of how excited he gets about it. And I'm looking at it like, man, this thing is growing like crazy with no work. Imagine what it could look like if I were to get it back and put in the effort to make it what I know that it could be. So that's part of the reasoning behind that.
Well, that is so awesome. And I have always said that good content, evergreen content, is a gift that keeps on giving. So
It is.
you definitely highlighted that because you created this content 5-6 years ago, and it still lives on and still is attracting people to a site that you no longer had any, until just recently, didn't own any longer, but it was still
Exactly.
working. That's
Exactly. And each month it gets about on a low month, 800 to 1,000 subscribers, based on that content alone. So, and we have some amazing plans for it. It's gonna be. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
try to contain myself, but I'm excited
No, I
about
don't
where
contain
that is
it.
gonna go.
Let that excitement out. I'm excited for you. That's so great. Okay, so let's talk because today your whole platform now is about monetizing the message,
Yes.
and I think everybody talks about this, but nobody really tells people how to do it. Like
Yes.
how do you? Well, let's first before we dig into the how,
Mhm.
why is messaging so important, Leslie?
Messaging is so important because if you are trying to attract an audience, you have to put a message out there that resonates with that audience. If it doesn't resonate with that audience, they're going to see it and they're going to scroll past. But if you can capture their attention by using, quite frankly, their messaging, their own words, and the things that they are struggling with, when they see that, all of a sudden, it's like you're speaking to them. You want that person to feel as if you are speaking directly to them. And then you want to deliver the value that they're looking for, so that they're not only attracted to what you do initially, but they keep coming back for more. Once you have that, you're setting yourself up for success. So that messaging is just a key component of just attracting the right person.
Yeah, I so agree. And I think that, it comes back to understanding who you're trying to attract. I think, I kind of gotten to a place where I I used to believe in the value of an avatar, like
Hmm.
define it before you ever get started, like,
Hmm.
understand who it is that you serve. But I've kind of flipped my dynamic on this a little bit.
Hmm.
So I'll tell you my hypothesis. Is that a scientific
Yeah,
term?
let's go with that. I love
Let's
it.
go with that. So I kind of believe that as long as you message what it is that you do for someone,
Hmm.
they will self-select in.
Ah.
And, if I say, hey, I can help you make more money on social media or with this, do XYZ or whatever, then if that person wants that, if they want what I've said I could do for them, then they're going to self select in. Then your avatar will come out of that pile. You will have some natural avatar traits, like you'll find that you're attracting certain types of people. But I feel like if you nail your messaging first, and you speak to that, then your person's going to self-select in. What do you think? Am I right?
I 100% agree. And the way that I teach it is, yeah, you think about who the person is you're trying to target. You might even write a story about this person. But what happens then is, once you understand the message that you're putting out there, you put it out there, and you're gonna start to see who that person really is.
Yes.
Just like you said, they're gonna self-select, because if I resonate with that message, I'm gonna come to that. And as you start attracting the people, you're then in data collection mode, right? And you get to see, okay, wait, you know what, I'm actually attracting this kind of person who has this kind of issue. And when you ask them what they're dealing with, the beautiful part about it is they're happy to tell you. They want you to know, because they're looking for that help, they're looking for that support. So I'm right with you on that. The messaging is such a key component. And if you get that wrong, your foundation is messed up.
It so is, and unfortunately, it's one of those things that we don't spend as enough, I think, enough time on defining what it is, figuring out what our person, you do have to visualize your person, I think,
Yes.
because how do you know what their struggles are? How do you know what solutions they're looking for and that kind of thing? So I know we're saying don't put the cart before the horse, but you have to start testing. You have to start putting stuff out there. Like when you started with
Yep.
your biology site or anything that you're doing now, you just started, right? You just started, you put content out there. Did it resonate? How many flubs have you had? Like, right?
Oh, oh man, yeah, and that's really the thing, right? In the beginning, I was literally just throwing stuff out there. Like, this is what I want to create. This is because I had an idea of the person that I was trying to attract. Because I used to work with that kind of person when I was taking the class, and then I became a teacher's assistant working with that student. So I knew what they were what they were dealing with, and I just started creating content. Literally, I would, because I was doing this around my other business, on Sunday morning, I would get up and I would say, all right, let me just try to create as much content as I could. And I might create 3 videos or 5 videos, and whatever I created back then on the Sunday, that would be my content for the week.
Yes.
And like you said, I just put it out there. I put it out there, put it out there. And I started to see, just like you're saying, that the person that was attracted to that content, they were actually kind of different from what I expected. Next thing you know, they're using it in medical schools, they're using it in nursing schools, and all of these different departments across the world. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool, you know?
Yes. Sometimes when you start creating content, one, you just got to start. That's the
Yes.
key. Don't get wrapped up in all the details. Just start. What's on your heart? Like, what do you want to share? What do you feel like is going to add value to someone? And then just throw it out in the world and start seeing, what resonates with people. Um, when it comes to monetization, what do you think is the one of the very first things people should really focus in on? I mean, I know the messaging's key, but once they've kind of figured out their who and how people are engaging with their content, like, where's the money? I mean, we're talking about content, but everybody
Yep.
wants to know at the end of the day, where's the money?
Yeah. So for me, what I do there is I try to figure out, like, what is the thing that they're struggling with? What's that pain point that they need a solution for? What is that? Yeah, they have a goal. In my case, right? The people that I was attracting, they were taking a physiology class. They're trying to pass their class, and they need something that simplifies the concepts for them. So what I did was I created a study guide that walked them through the concepts that they need to understand in order to pass their physiology class. So it really comes down to, what are they struggling with? What is the pain point? Like Carol just said
Yes.
in the chat, what is the pain point? What is the struggle? What are they? What issues are they coming into encountering when they're on their way to the goals that they have for themselves as it relates to the content that you're creating? If you understand what that pain point is, you can then either create a solution for them or recommend a solution for them, or you can work with them to help them come up with their own solution. So, pain point, get that down, and you have a starting point for how you can monetize your message.
Mm. So good, because that comes in so many different. There's
It
so many
does.
different paths that come off of that, right? To your point, whether it's you're starting with free content that leads them to something they're going to pay for, and you could work one on one. You could do coaching. You
Yep.
could you could have ebooks. You could have you could write a book on Amazon, put it out there on Amazon. You can have there's just so many, depending on the transformation that you are trying to affect for people. There's so many ways that you could package something that you're selling. um,
Absolutely.
so how do you go about, because I really want to dig into this a little bit more, because I feel like so many folks focus on maybe the wrong things when they're first starting their business, or even years down the road. I mean, I've seen people, I've been there. I honestly, I've been there where I've had a successful business, but my messaging sucked.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I'm just going to say it.
Yep.
I'm going to own it. So how do you, one, start that down that road if you don't have a message or don't understand what your message is, or if you have a business but you're not sure your message is on target? How do you like clean that up or get started with it depending on your circumstances?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So the way that I recommend getting that down, first of all, just think through it. Like, what do you think that messaging should be? If you know who you're trying to reach, think about what they're struggling with. That's where we're starting. But then you start like conducting these experiments. I'm a biologist, so I love experimentation, right? You start conducting these experiments. Maybe this is the messaging. Well, maybe this is the messaging. Maybe this is the messaging. And you start creating content around those different types of messaging that you're putting out there. And what you're going to notice is that at a certain point, you hit a sweet spot. You mention something, you talk about one of your messages, and people really start to resonate with it. How do you know they're resonating with it? Because you're getting more feedback. When I address this particular topic, people ask more questions. People get more excited. People like more my posts more. People comment more. All of those things, all of those data points, those are cues. Those are clues that can help you to refine that message over time. If every time you post something out there, it falls on deaf ears, you're putting it in front of the right people, but they're not even connecting with it. They're not engaging with it. Well, that's a sign that maybe you need to tweak that messaging a little bit. What you can also do is you can look around at what other people in your space are doing and see what kinds of topics they talk about and how people respond to that. And you can start testing, not just don't steal their ideas. I mean, even though there's a place for that within the right context, but you're borrowing from what they're doing and you're testing it out in your own context to see how do people respond to what you're doing, and use that. What we do a lot of times is we have a message, we want to get it out there, we put it out there in the format that we think it's supposed to be out there, and if people don't like it, well, too bad. Well, no, if people don't like it, then you're not going to attract the audience. You put it out there, and you get feedback, and you use that feedback to refine. You refine over time, and what you will find is that your messaging will get more clear, it will get more attractive, and you will be attracting the right kind of person.
Yeah, I think that's, you just said it. We think we know best.
Yeah,
We think we know best. So we'll put our message out there and we're like, done, done, check that box. We are
it's
out of
done.
there.
Yep.
And then we're like, nobody's paying attention. What is going on? It's an evolution, I think.
It
It's a
is.
constant. We need to constantly be evaluating it. We did this with our PDF to Profit course that
Hmm.
we're giving away a couple of those on today's show, and we just couldn't nail the messaging. Like, what do people really want? And it ended up that it was, they wanted a digital product. A lot of people, and then at the end of the day, though, why did they want the digital product? They wanted a passive income stream.
Hmm.
So we had to figure out, one, what did they want, but really, why did they want it? So
Yes.
you got to make sure that your messaging is right. Otherwise, people are not going to buy your stuff, or they're not going to tune in. Tuning in, even from a free perspective, you still got to nail that messaging. You got to have something people want.
Yeah.
So it's,
And there's something you mentioned there, the why they want it. That is so important because sometimes you might have the right solution, right? And you put it out there, and nobody resonates with it. And maybe in that case, what you're doing is you're just talking about the features of this product, right? It has this number of modules, and it covers these topics, and yada yada yada, and nobody cares because you're not addressing why they want it. You're not addressing their pain points, and you're not addressing, hey, what are the benefits? What will this allow them to do? And that is such a key component of our messaging that so many people get wrong, because we think, I did it, it's awesome, so everybody's gonna love it. Well, they're not going to love it if they never try it, and they're not going to try it if they're not attracted to it, and they're not going to be attracted to it if you're not using the right messaging.
yeah, I mean, so often, when even like, we have a small little boutique agency, marketing agency, and
Hmm.
so they'll come to us and they'll say, well, we just want more. We just want more money. And but why? Why do they want more money?
Yep.
Maybe they want to put their kid in a private school. Maybe they want to go on a vacation they haven't been able to take because they didn't have enough revenue coming in. Money is just a tool. Like, so you have to get to the root of why. Emotions is what drives so much of why people take action.
Yes.
So what is it that really gets their gears grinding, as we say? So okay, so can anyone do this though, Leslie? I mean, do you have to have a fancy smancy degree, or like, to nail this down? Like, if somebody is just getting started with this, or they need to circle back to it, like, can they do it?
So here's the beautiful thing about it, right? A lot of people, tend to think, man, I'm not an expert. I don't have a PhD. I don't have my degree in this. So, people won't, they won't take me seriously or anything of that sort. And what I like to tell those people is if you are one step ahead of someone else, you can help them take that one step. You know what you need to know. You know what they need to know in order to get that one step, under their belt, right? So you can start sharing and you can share in the process of becoming that expert. Like I mentioned, right? When I started creating content for university level biology and so on, I didn't have a PhD. And I could have said, you know what? I'm not a professor. I don't have a PhD. I'm not going to, put myself out there. But no, I understood something a little better or a lot better than some, but a little better than other people. And if I understand it a little better than someone else, I can help that person. You don't have to know everything. I hope you didn't I didn't give you the wrong impression, but I don't know everything about biology. There is a ton about biology that I have no idea about, and that's just the reality. But I know a little bit about some of the things, and those things that I know about can be very, very helpful. If you've been alive for any amount of time, you can teach somebody else. You can help somebody else. My little kids, I watch them sometimes as they are explaining things to other people, and as other people are explaining things to them. Even at that stage, they have information that is useful to somebody else. So, yeah, you can do this.
So I have a real quick story to share on this. I was thinking about this just yesterday, in fact.
Mm.
I when I first started skating, a lot of people don't know that I love to play ice hockey, but I do. So
Oh.
when I first started skating, I didn't learn to skate as a child. So
Mhm.
I stunk at it, seriously. So my husband got me when my oldest son was just a toddler. He got me this running stroller, and I would put my skates on, and I would roll. I used the running stroller to kind of balance myself. That's how I started teaching
Yep.
myself how to skate. And then when I started playing hockey, I stunk at it. I couldn't stop, and so I had to like yell at people, "Hey, I'm coming! I can't stop!" I'd let them know I couldn't stop. So, and then I learned how to stop one way. Anyway, long story short, there was this little girl. She was about 5 years old. And I was still like, I looked like Bambi out there. I was still, but she was just starting. And
Mm.
technically, I was just starting. I wasn't too far ahead of her,
Yep.
but she was really struggling. And so I said, okay, let me tell you what I did. And I was just a little bit, like I said, a little bit ahead of her. I was a grown adult, and there's this little 5-year-old girl. But that was so like incredible, such an incredible feeling when I was able to share just a little bit of knowledge
A
with her,
lit.
just a
Yep.
little bit. And she took off, like she figured it out much faster than I did, and went for it. So I love that you said that about you just have to be a little bit ahead of somebody behind you and
Y-
give them a helping hand. It's
yeah.
just incredible.
It's a principle that I try to live my life around. When I think about even when I took my physiology class, which is really the foundation of where all of this came from. When I took my physiology class, the professor would say things and I would get it, and I'm like, man, this is amazing information. And the person next to me, they're looking at the same professor and they're like, what? I don't understand. What are you
Glazed
talking
look.
about? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of that, and they're looking at me like I have no idea what they're talking about. And we would go back to the room, and then I would be that person's teacher. And I just learned it that day or the day before. I'm like, hey, this is what he's saying. If you look at the neuron, this is how it functions, and go through the different sections and so on. That was so beneficial to that person. Even though if you asked me the question last week, I would have no idea about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We are all on a journey. And as we're on these journeys, we've all learned things. Don't hold on to that because the person right next to you doesn't understand that thing that you just learned about. Share it with them. You don't have to claim to be Dr. So and so, even though I see some of you are obviously Dr. So and so's here. But even if you're not Dr. So and so, if you have helpful information, share it. And if you do that
Yes.
enough, you will grow the right audience, and then you can monetize that audience.
So that leads me to a great question. I think it's a great question. Um, how do you know when you're on the right track? Like, what are some signs that you know that your messaging is actually attracting the people you want to attract?
Yeah, that is a great question. I'll tell you how I started to figure out that, man, I'm going in the right direction. And this is a simple one for me. I started getting emails. I started getting emails from people all across the world, that would say, "Hey, thank you so much for what you posted. This concept is something that I've been struggling to understand all semester, and I just watched your video for 5 minutes, and now I get it. My professor is in front of me. I don't know what he's saying. I watch your video for a few minutes, and now it all makes sense. My content is resonating with that person. When I get and what I used to do, because oftentimes we get a bunch of positive comments, we get one negative comment, and that's the one we focus on. Oh man, my stuff is terrible, it sucks, the world is coming to an end. But what I used to do is, whenever I got that positive comment, I'd put it into a folder. I'd put the next one into a folder, and then anytime I'm like discouraged or anything along those lines, I can open up that folder and I can see all of the positive things that people have said. That's one of the ways that I know that my message is resonating with the audience. Another way that I know that my stuff is resonating with people, and this is the one I love, even more to a certain extent, is when they actually start buying my stuff. Because what they're saying is, I'm getting enough value from you that I'm going to part with my hard earned cash and give you some of it so that I can get more value. I trust what you're doing enough to invest in that as well. So for me, I take those cues, messages from people, comments from people, how they respond to my posts on social media, and how they react when I send them an offer and they actually start buying. Those are all positive cues for me.
Oh, so good. You know, one of the things I love that you said, and I would encourage everybody to do this because when I first started, somebody would unsubscribe from my list and I'd be like, what?
Oh
Like,
no.
oh, they don't love me, you know? So lots of times we get so wrapped up in the negative one that we omit the value of all the rest. Like, you're not here to serve everyone. So
Nope.
I love that you talked about how you have a folder for all the positive stuff and
Oh
drawing
yeah.
energy from that. So my recommendation for everybody is to do that. Put whether you put a Google Doc or, put a note on your computer somewhere and you copy and paste all those positive things. Because when you get a negative or you're feeling down or you're feeling like, all this stuff that I'm doing isn't working, it is not giving me the benefit that I want, go back and look at those people that you have served. It's going to
Absolutely.
really feed your passion. It'll refuel you. And I just wanted to, I love that you said that and brought that
And,
up.
there's one quick thing there, because I mentioned it and you mentioned it. Sometimes you get negative comments, and in the beginning I used to feel bad about them. Now I actually celebrate them, because I know that if your messaging is on point, it's going to attract the right people, and it's going to turn off the wrong people. It's going to turn them away. I remember someone, a friend of mine, told me that he recommended my podcast to somebody, and they listened to it for a few seconds, and they just turned it off. They was like, this is crap. The guy is too excited. He sounds like this like infomercial person that's just, or like, he's so excited that it turns me off. And I'm like, yo, that's awesome. I'm glad that you can tell that this is not for you. And if you could tell that just by listening to my voice, that tells me that I'm putting something into my voice that's going to attract the right person and turn off the wrong person. So
Yes.
I celebrate those negative comments. If you don't like me, that means I'm doing something right. Because
Yes.
if enough people are appreciating what I'm doing, but then I get these few people over here that are saying this is terrible, I feel like I'm doing it the right way.
Absolutely. And I will also say that it's not always your messaging. It could be exactly what you just talked about,
Yeah.
voice and
Yeah.
looks. I mean, how many people are doing exactly the same thing we're doing today, right, Leslie? I mean, how many people are teaching other people how to monetize their message? How many people are teaching people how to use social media or doing whatever, coaching, whatever we're doing? I can promise you that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of other people doing exactly the same thing. Why is there enough business for us all? Because we all are going to attract different people based on different things. Sometimes it's our
Exactly.
voice, sometimes it's the way we look. Like, this is a Pinterest experiment gone wrong, maybe. I don't know. We haven't said. I should ask everybody. So nobody said anything yet about my red, except for Leslie when we first got on. So I told him, I was like, I'm going to ask everybody if they think this is a Pinterest experiment gone wrong, or is it right? Y'all can let me know. I'm referring to my hair. But I think at the end of the day, we have to understand that we're not here to serve everybody. We're
No,
only here to serve who is attracted to our vibe, to who's attracted to the things that we're here to solve for them. And we got to let the rest of it go. We can't
absolutely.
harbor that negativity, because it just keeps us from serving the people we're meant to serve. So,
Yep.
okay. So if we're trying to get our message clear, what are some things that would be like things to focus on? Maybe like some factors or, key things that we should focus on to get clear, so we know that we have a better chance of maybe getting our messaging right out the gate.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what do you focus on to know that you're getting your message right out the gate? Um, this is gonna sound like counterintuitive. It is important to focus on getting your message out the gate. It sounds very simple, but like, what holds so many people back is this: they want to get everything perfect, right? They want to make sure my messaging is on point, it is exactly what it needs to be, and all of that good stuff. I tend to go in the other direction. No, you need to get enough of your message out there so that you can fix it. Like, you start with crap, and then you start refining it, and eventually it's something that makes sense. It is something that resonates with people. The more touch points you have with your audience, the more data you're able to collect. Because at least for me personally, I don't know how to get my messaging perfect without getting feedback from people. So I put the message out there. I put more messaging out there. I put more messaging out there. I might go back to the drawing board, tweak a little bit, and then put some more messaging out there and more messaging out there. And then I will start asking people, hey, what do you think about this? And then I'll start getting their feedback. I might send out some surveys. This is something that I do every so often. I will send out a survey and get feedback from people on what I've been creating and on what they're dealing with that I might be missing. Those are some of the things that I focus on when it comes to the messaging part of it. It's really not about getting it perfectly out the gate. It's about getting it out the gate enough so that you can get feedback to perfect it over time.
It's a constant evolution, seriously. I mean, your
Exactly.
messaging is a constant evolution. And I call it turning poo to profit,
I
turning the
love
poo
that.
stuff into profit. But if you don't evolve, if you don't figure out like, okay, this isn't really resonating, so I've got to continue to tweak it. If you are so like locked in your own mind about I'm right, like I know this is the right messaging, but nobody's resonating with it. If you're not okay with listening and keeping your ear to the ground, then you're going to struggle. You got to constantly evolve. You got to constantly be listening, figuring out what is actually resonating with people. Um, so Carol asked this question, and I think it's a great
Yep.
one. Carol says, by putting messaging out there, do you mean boosting or ads? I'm not
Yeah.
thinking.
So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
it can be all of the above, right? It could be the stuff that you post on social media. It could be your blog posts. It could be your videos. You're putting it out there. You're creating content. You're doing stories, maybe. Maybe you're on TikTok and you're putting it out there. Now, what I'm not saying is to try to be in all of these places. But whatever platforms you choose and you decide, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on, you're putting that message out there. Maybe you're running ads because that's a part of your overall strategy. And if that's the case, great. You can test different messaging in your ads. You can do split tests and try this message, this message, this message with this image or this image. And then you can pay to run it to the people that you are targeting, and then you can see, hey, when I use this messaging, it reaches more people, or the cost per click goes down significantly because people are engaging with it more. It's all a data collection process, and whatever tactics you are using for getting it out there, you can apply it to any of those.
So good. And I'll just add to that just for a real quick second. Spending money is the fastest way to discuss to find out whether or not your messaging is going to resonate, because you can put it in front of who you think is going to it's going to resonate with, and that kind of thing. When I did it the hard way, and I think you did it the hard way, where we just got started. We just started blogging. We just started throwing stuff out on social media. I seriously call it throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yep.
And you can do that too. If you don't have the money to spend ads or whatever, or even if you want to do a combination, which is kind of where I'm at now, but I had to evolve there. I just started with blogging, figuring out, and the more people ask questions, the more I just could create content around that. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Carol. Answers that question a little bit.
Absolutely.
And so Linda asked another great question. So she says, what if you get no response from social media or emails or blogs? Good question, right?
That is a great question. And that's something that's very common, especially when someone is just starting out, right? They don't have an audience, so they put it out there and it's crickets. Well, then you have to start thinking about, what can I do to attract an audience? Yes, you can run ads, and that's a great strategy. And when you're running ads, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. So go through the right training on how to run ads, so you're not just throwing money out there in a way that's wasteful. But yes, running ads is one of the things that you can do. Partnerships and collaborating with other people that have audiences is something that you can do. For me, just as an example, I remember when I started my biology blog, I started and I focused on creating the right kind of content for the person that I'm trying to reach out to. And then I started looking for people that I could connect with. And there was one blogger in particular. I knew she was getting a ton of traffic. And I knew that because no matter how much I did searches for all of these different topics when I was teaching biology at the time, her website would show up at the top. And I'm like, man, she's getting a lot of traffic. I need to connect with this person. So I reached out to her one day, and I reached out to her in a way that is very different from all of the emails that I get today from so many people who are like, hey, I have this great product. Can you promote it to your audience? It wasn't from that perspective. It was from a perspective of, how can I serve her? I reached out to her and I said to her, hey, I just want to let you know, I love your content. I use it in my classes all the time, and I actually did. My students love it. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And I noticed that she had some issues with her WordPress site. I said, hey, I went to your site and I noticed that you have some problems with such and such. What I explained what it was. And I said to her, I would love to help you with that. No charge to you. I will go and fix it for you, just so that you can serve your audience and my students and the world better. And then I mentioned, by the way, I have this site over here with biology videos. You can check it out. And I remember she sent me an email back, and she said something along the lines of, man, thank you so much for the offer. I'm so busy. I don't even have time to take you up on the offer, but I really do appreciate it. And then she said, by the way, I checked out your site. I love it. It's something that I've been wanting to do, but I have no time. So I wrote about it here. And when I went, I saw that she wrote about my blog, and people started coming to the blog. And that month, 400 and something people came to the blog. And then it just kind of went up from there by stopping and thinking through, how can I get in front of the right people? Who can I collaborate with? How can I learn about running ads and do it in a way that makes sense? and how can I get my stuff in front of the right people? There are many different ways, and we could do a whole other show on that particular topic. But it's really about finding the right audience and getting in front of them so you have more people to engage with your content to get that feedback.
Oh, such great, rich advice, y'all. I hope, especially the collaboration piece. I think
Absolutely.
it's so powerful, when you can really, add value to somebody else's community without it coming across like it's all about me. I don't know about you, but I probably get 20, 30 outreaches a day. And they're all wrong. I need to do a course
Terrible.
on how to do outreach the right way, because it's like, hey, I saw your blog on blah, blah, blah. I need you to insert my link into your blog.
Yeah.
Or, hey, sometimes they go to the effort of making it sound like they love you and have followed you forever. But at the end of the day, it's always about them. And so what you did was so smart. I heard my friend Syed Balki, Syed,
Oh yeah.
he
Great
talked
guy.
about how he did exactly that same thing and got in front of Michael Hyatt once.
Yep.
If you guys know Michael Hyatt, it's a big name, and that's how he kind of got started, getting known in the WordPress space, because he did that outreach. So think about it from that perspective, instead of just looking at somebody that has what you think is your community. How can you approach the person who owns that community in such a way that it's going to be value based to them? Because I
Exactly.
promise you, if you go at them like, I don't have any community over here and I need some of yours, they're not going to
It,
respond.
it's like you're saying to them, "Hey, I know that you've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to build up your entire business. Now, can you just give it to me, a random stranger, for free?" I mean,
Yeah,
really, it's not going to happen.
yeah,
Always think about how could I serve them in a way that benefits them. And what I find is the more I do that, even without asking, the more it comes back to me.
yeah. Okay, I love it, love it, love it. This is such a great conversation. And to your point, there's so many offshoots that we could go in, but I have I think this is a super important question, because if you've nailed your messaging,
Yep.
um, can you give me two or three ways that you can actually monetize the message?
Absolutely. If you want to monetize your message, you have to expose your audience, the one that is resonating with your message, to something that can help them solve a problem that they're dealing with. Now, how can you do that? Number one, you can recommend to them something that already exists, maybe something that you use that could be beneficial to them. So, for example, with a biology blog, what I did, I found a human anatomy and physiology study guide before I had my own study guide, and I could recommend that as an affiliate. And whenever someone signs up or purchases that study guide, I get a commission. I remember the first email I sent out to my list about it. That email, I made $200, and for me at that time, it was like, whoa! I send emails all the time. They never pay me, but I send this one email, and I got over $200 from it. That is called affiliate marketing, recommending something that's useful to your audience that helps them solve a problem, and you don't necessarily have to make that product or provide a service or anything of that sort. You just recommend it. The next thing up you can do, and I'm going from the one that takes the least amount of work to the one that takes the most amount of work. The next level up is, hey, you have expertise, and maybe you can consult with them. You can get on a coaching call with them and offer maybe a service. Maybe you're a web designer and you can offer what you do as a service. Providing a service to your audience to help them to accomplish their goals or to get past their struggles, that's another way that you can serve them without having to create something beforehand. So number one, recommend something that already exists. Number two, provide them with some service to help them accomplish their goal. And number three, you can create your own product. Whatever that product is, maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's a course, maybe it's a physical product. I had one client that was doing natural hair products, and she started selling those products and doing very well. You create something that solves a problem, and now you can provide that to your audience as a resource. And some of that audience they're going to pick you up and take you up on that offer because they know, like, and trust you. They're going to be more likely to buy that product. So those are three ways that you can monetize the message. Once you've put it out there, you're attracting that audience, and you want to take it to that next level.
So good, so good, and I love the way you broke it down from the least to the most difficult. Interestingly enough, like I feel like the one thing that most people are not taking advantage of that's easiest is that first one, affiliate marketing.
Absolutely.
If you love something, even like our sponsor today, I love this tool, Restream. I'm sure they're the sponsor, but like I would recommend them regardless, and because I would recommend them, they would be willing to pay me, a certain amount of money as an affiliate, because I told people about them. I think all of us know things or use things that we love, and we should have those. We should set up affiliate accounts for those and generate revenue from them. I mean, I'm just off of my blog content and using affiliate marketing. I have a 6-figure revenue stream coming in
Yeah.
from affiliate marketing. And it's just about telling other people. It's not my stuff. It's,
No.
I don't have a live streaming tool.
I know.
But yet I can still make money from somebody else's greatness, somebody else's zone of genius, somebody else's amazingness, whatever word you want to use. So I want to just give a shout out to the winners real quick. And then I have another
Ooh,
question
nice.
for you. So we have, nope, sorry. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Here we go. So congrats to Linda and Claire for winning the free access to PDF to Profit Live. Yay! So you're going to be able to create your first digital product. Well, maybe you haven't. You maybe already have one, but we're gonna create another one. And then Sandy, I'm so glad Sandy won. She won the $15 Amazon gift card. All right, congrats! Excellent. Okay, so Leslie, I know you have an upcoming virtual event that's all around this monetize your message theme. Can you tell us a little bit about that and all the goodies?
Yes, indeed. So I wanted to put together an event that is not just an event where you come and you get like a bunch of information and then you leave and now you're trying to figure out what to do with all that information. I wanted to put together an event that I like to call a working event, a working experience, where you come and over the span of 3 days, we create your blueprint together. You're gonna hone in on your messaging. You're gonna write it down. You're gonna then create the processes for the kind of content that you're gonna create in order to attract that audience. You're gonna come up with, hey, these are the products and services that I'm gonna provide, or the things that I'm going to recommend, and you're gonna have an outline of your entire funnel. So you'll know your messaging, you will know the content that you have to create. You're going to leave with actual content ideas. You're going to know what you're going to be selling. And you're also going to leave with a first draft of your sales copy for the product, the first product that you are going to sell, or the next product that you're going to sell. Like, you're going to have all of that written out so that at the end of those 3 days, you have your blueprint for exactly what steps you need to take in your business. And now all you got to do is make it happen. We've pushed the event out a little bit, so it's going to be in January, from January 30th through February the 1st, a 3-day virtual event. And you can check that out by going to monetize2021.com. That's MOTIZE. It's posted in the chat, 2021.com, to find out more about it. We did it in May, and it was the most amazing experience. And I know that you're going to get so much value from it.
Well, I love this because one, you're doing the work at this.
Exactly.
How many times have you guys purchased something and you don't always go through it? Because one, you have to do it on your own. Two, you have to carve out the time to do it on your own, etc. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing these live classes, like the PDF to
Yep.
Profit is live, where people are actually getting the results because they're doing the work as we go. And I love that you're doing it this way. And one other thing I'd like to say is I think messaging is hard to do on your own, y'all.
Yep.
It is so hard. I've been struggling with my messaging, trying to get the new brand ready. And I feel like you almost need an outside set of eyes because we're so close to it, and especially if we are not really tuned in and listening. Like my knowledge is all over the place. So I had to like, I had to really pull it up. Like, what does people
Yep.
really want from me on in all these lanes. And so it's hard sometimes to see it for yourself. Even when you think you know your person or you think you can hear you've been listening, but it can be really difficult. So I encourage you to check out Leslie's event because I think that I know it's still a few months away, but still, like if you've struggled with messaging, then just pencil it in, go do it.
And the cool thing is what ends up happening is at the event you're not just working on that message, but you get to test it out, right? You get to share it in small groups and get feedback, and then you get to share it with me and get feedback and some of the other experts that are going to be there. So it's not just, hey, you go and you work on it and hopefully it's right. You work on it, you share it with others. Someone might say, hey, I like that, but have you considered such and such? Maybe your target is more dealing with this kind of thing. What do you think? And you get that back and forth interaction. It's like you get that real time data back that we were talking about, right? You put it
Yes.
out there, you get feedback instantly, and you can refine in that process. So that's
And
what I love about doing it this way.
you're with a group of people who are on the same path. So, it's like, when you're with your peeps, like, you're all doing the same thing at the same time, and the support system is just incredible. I personally love, learning and doing in a live environment because there's just so much more impact from it. So
Absolutely.
we had a question from Sandra. She said, how can we work with Leslie now? So where can we connect with you, Leslie?
Oh, that's a great question. Two ways. You can just send me a message on any of these platforms that we're on. My name is Leslie Samuel, and you can reach out to me that way. Or you can come to IamLeslieSamuel.com. That's one way that you can reach to all of my content, my podcasts, my articles, and all of that good stuff. Or shoot me an email. Well, yeah, you can get me through the website that way.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Hopefully, you got some immense value. I mean, this was such a great conversation, and I hope that you were blessed by it. Leslie has been doing this for a long time. He's got it nailed. You can, as you could probably tell, and I've been blessed. Hopefully, you've been blessed by today's conversation as well. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for spending time with us. I know that time is valuable, and we appreciate it when you spend a little bit of that with us. So thank you for that. Like I said, take care, stay safe, and God bless.
Take care, y'all.